we start the fight. In the rock zones we take flight. From Kano's hills to Freeport Gate, guardians fall when we tempt fate. In the vast storm we blaze the trail, craving triumph we won't fail. Epic drops and quests untold, in the shadows we are bold. To every corner we will ride, as the shadow knight with pride. In Kylon plains the dragons soar, fighting hard, we want for more. Echoes of Phaedra's ancient lore, onward we march to even the score. Kazik to Lily following gate, facing fear we won't hesitate. Choosing paths in the silent night, shadow knights win with sheer might. Epic drops and quests untold, in the shadows we are bold. To every corner we will ride, as the shadow knight with pride. In Kylon plains the dragons soar, fighting hard, we want for more. Echoes of Phaedra's ancient lore, onward we march to even the score. Kazik to Lily falling gate, facing fear we won't hesitate. Choosing paths in the silent night, shadow knights win with sheer might. Epic drops and quests untold, in the shadows we are bold. To every corner we will ride, as the shadow knight with pride.
In shadow on every quest strides through darkened woods and canyon wide. He roams the lands, both near and far, chasing dreams under Nora's stars. From Antonica to fens of Nassau, he's slain the beasts and claimed the scars. In Freeport streets or Kano's halls, echoes of his courage call. Every quest you brave resolves, crossing valleys, climbing stones. In this grand world from dawn till dusk, you complete the quest, 'cause in you we trust. On dragon wings he soars the sky to fabled places legends lie. In dungeons deep and towers high, the questing shadow knight won't die. Through trials tough and secrets told, in frost or flames, in heat or cold, he battles on with steel and might. In darkest depths he finds the light. Every quest you brave the soul, It's in you we trust.
Step into the magic realm tonight. Leave your worries at the door, it's light. Every quest is here to guide your flight. In a path where we'll all unite. Welcome to the show, come have some fun. Leave it all behind, watch the pixels run. Press start and let your journey begin. Nora's secrets waiting to be seen. Grab your gear and pack a smile or two. Dragons and quests await you. Chat and cheer, our community's true. Together in this stream we'll break through. Welcome to the show, come have some fun. Leave it all behind, watch the pixels run. Press start and let your journey begin. Nora's secrets waiting to be seen. Every quest calling heroes far and wide. Escape the grind, let your spirit ride. Here we laugh and conquer side by side. In this virtual land we'll all confide. Welcome to the show, come have some fun. Leave it all behind, watch the pixels run. Press start and let your journey begin. Nora's secrets waiting to be seen. Welcome to the show, come have some fun. Leave it all behind, watch the pixels run. Press start and let your journey begin. Nora's secrets waiting to be seen. Be seen. Be seen. Be seen. Be seen.
Hey, good morning, adventurers. We're gonna finish up some Nectulos Forest Tome quest today. Before that, we're gonna do our daily objectives for our loyalty coins. Not sure why, but it's there, and then it's on your screen. So I like to get it off there. Checking my sound level here. I think it looks, yep, everything looks good. We have a new feature we're gonna try in a little bit. I worked on it all weekend. I'll tell you what, I wanted a quest task list that was a little bit more interactive than changing a file. And I thought I could go to Stream Elements and get something there, but it wasn't doing quite what I wanted it to do. I really want to be able to take a text file of the quests that I want to accomplish and then turn that into something that looks a little bit better than Notepad. And I think using cascading style sheets, JavaScript, and a local web server, who knew? I have an overlay that I'll start using later on that should give us a little interactivity. What I would really like is the way football games and basketball games are, I suppose, doesn't matter when you walk in, you sort of get a sense of what's been accomplished so far and what has yet to be accomplished. And so that's the idea with this interface that I'm making, or I've attempted to make. That you'll be able to look at it and then say, oh, okay, here's where he's going with it. Here's the point today. And boy, it's a rough weekend for streamers, let me tell you. EverQuest had between none, of course, and 5 streamers this weekend. And whenever I just kind of look at the competition, I suppose, at the other offerings is more like it because we're really not in competition with each other. They were averaging probably 1 to 2 viewers. The streamers were. So this game is far, far, far from alive for sure. And I enjoy making content for it. And I don't even mind streaming to one, right? But it has to be someone other than me. And so for now, I'm going to continue streaming the game, but I may move on to something different. Maybe that, because I want to provide some value, some point to, hey, the table is gone here. Oh, there it is. It wasn't drawing. Isn't that weird? That guy there, if you get at this angle, this table isn't, I'm looking at them and I know for years I've seen a table there. It was gone. So anyway, my point being, I enjoy making content, but the content has to have a purpose. Now, I always try to have a point, and the point is let's get everything done that we can get done, right? And I try to make it sort of obvious in my title, a little bit of a teasy title, like here's where we're going with this. But right, because you got to get people's attention. You get 4 or 5 opportunities a stream for someone to stop and go, let's check this out for half a second. Because at the end of the day, it's all old content, right? But you only get 4 or 5 seconds for someone to just stop what they're doing and give you the opportunity to become somebody that is part of their morning coffee or whatever it is. Who knows? But so I want you to know, if you're watching my VODs or you just happen to swing in here or there for a moment or two, lurk all you want, that's fine. I'm just glad that somebody is consuming, right? It wouldn't be of any use to have a room full of food if nobody was eating it. So, hey, this should be the name of my guild, Easily Distracted. But the name of my guild is the Lost Order of Archivists. And I am the only member in my guild, other than my other characters. Why? Because I wanted the guild hall to be able to stack up the spoils of my adventures. So when I do go in my guild hall, you get kind of an idea like, oh, here's what this guy has been through. Or you might see something on the stream and you go, I wonder what that is. Where did that come from? And so it probably came from a quest. I try not to have anything purchased, nor other than travel items. I try not to have anything purchased, nor anything crafted. I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but I attempt to make my guild hall a showcase of what you might pick up in this game in the course of your adventures. Well, okay. Long-winded introduction is over with now, and I am going to, I forgot what I was doing. I'm going to go into my, I need that buff on. I must have died at some point. I'm going to go into, I probably have to pay for my guild. I wonder if do now, friend. I got to pay 11 plat. It looks like I put $1 million in escrow at some point. Yep. Now, the plat is simple, right? Because of inflation, the cost of upkeeping a guild hall isn't there. But some people do struggle with the status. You know, the idea of having their own guild hall would be like, oh boy, that's a lot of status. But it's really manageable. at the bare minimum, you could just do your upper level trade skill writs. If that was an option to you, you could just do upper level trade skill writs. But the other thing you get a lot of status in is if you do the Overseer quests. Overseer is a goofy little mechanic in the game that's got... They give you things to do, and then you do them, and then, like, especially if you do the daily heritage hunt, you get this thing as a reward for doing it. And the way it works is, the way you do one of these is you look through here and see what the requirements are. The daily is worth doing because you can get possibility of getting some things, and then you can throw anybody in there that you want to. So, and it's just a matter of forming your party. You're going to complete it no matter, I mean, it's... This one is just show up and do it. And then this will go down as you do charged quests. Like there's quests that you are charged to do. Yeah, apparently I already have this. Do I have to put people in there? I wasn't even paying attention to what I'm doing. Okay, there we go. All right, that was like an Elon Musk moment, wasn't it? Where he was trying to show his character, and then what we do is we unpack this thing, and so here's the status thing I was talking about. So you will get one of these on a daily thing, and that's 100,000 status. So, and that's the bare minimum, 100,000 a day. It can go up to 2 million or something. I don't know. I don't get those too often. There's like purple ones, and anyway, there's different rarities of ones. I was heading over to my guild hall when this all started. I am an easily distracted person. Also a person who needs to drink plenty or my voice goes out. The only downside of drinking is that I swallow like 20 times. Okay, so I tend to go in here once a day. One of the things I'm trying to do is the impossible, which is those trade skill apprentices you have. They're optional. They have really very little point right now in the game, but I guess you can learn Grandmaster spells from them, but you could just read a book and do it. I thought the game locked up because there was a number floating there that was not moving. And what I decided to do, because I was running back to my trades, here's my house. I was running back to my trade skill person, picking up the daily make this thing for me quest, and then going back to the guild hall. But so I just brought one of my crafts everything from one of the expansions, and then I put a personal depots in here too. No, here are some of the tomes that we've picked up by doing our tome quests. I've scaled some larger and some smaller, but they are what they are, right? So we always do the let me do something that'll help you research faster, and it jacks that up a little bit, and then she'll give me a quest every day, and the reward for doing that is a little trade skill potion boost of minimal consequence, but they can be of some use. Probably be super helpful at a very low level crafting ability. Okay, well, we just... Crafting in EverQuest 2 is a little bit of a reactionary thing. You watch this refresh, and you can just do these things here, but every once in a while an event will occur and it'll show up in there. So here's her equipment. She gives me this pouch, and then we'll find out what's in it. Some lumber. Yay. That is not a writ, though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slay... We're going to try to find 2 bosses. I don't think I'll be able to find them. We'll do this is maybe one of the days where, because usually you can like collect 40 of an item. You can collect 40 of anything in just less than a minute. So I like that one. And then there's one that's not here as well that says slay 8 different types of creatures, as long as they con color on them, as long as they give XP, as long as they're something that is relevant to your level. If it's below your level, you're not going to get credit for it. But you find 8 different types of beings, and then and you're set. You got them all done for the day. But in this case, there's 25 things to kill, and then there are... I wonder if I'll just craft 3 different items, and then in the course of killing for our Tome quest, and we'll get done with it. So what I am going to do is just craft things that are trivial at best. You know what? I'm going to go back to I have very limited supplies in here, so I'm going to go back to the guild hall. The Lost Order of Archivists guild hall, and we're going to just craft 2 things, and then we'll start doing our tomes. Anyway, like I say, we'll just kind of do some trivial stuff. Although it would... Yeah, let's do the old striking cobra. Everybody would want one of those, wouldn't they? There's one. Now, they have to be different, so I can't make the same thing. So I'll just find another one that's of... Create that. My phone is blowing up. You'd think I had some type of importance the way it's dinging around today. But the reason my phone dings a lot is my entire family is on a thread. And everybody does Wordle together. So everybody's Wordle results start rolling in the morning. There, we lit up that one. So that one's going to be done. Now the thing I'd like to show you is my checklist that we're going to be using. Here it is. Doesn't look like much. And the way it is set up is there's 2 checkboxes. The first checkbox means that if there's no quest checkbox is marked, it means I plan on doing the quest, but I haven't even started it yet, or maybe I haven't found it, right? Maybe it didn't drop yet, whatever it is. And in this case, these are all tomes. So it's a matter of reading these. So I have them, haven't read them yet. They're going across my screen down here, right here. And these 4 are all separate books. And then this one here, the bird watching, is all 3 of these. This is weird. I can't see it on my screen, so I got to watch OBS. So I'm looking over here at OBS when it's actually happening here on the screen. That's the way that works. Now, the way I control those, this might get a little confusing, but the way I control those is on a web page running locally. This is running on my computer as just a local host. It's not outside. But this page is really interesting because if I interact with it, it actually writes to a file. And then when the file updates, how do I say this? When the file updates, then OBS is looking for that file, and that's where it's generating it from. So this, what you see here on the, I got to do it over here. What you see here on the screen is not a reflection of this. It's, these both are looking at a file, and this here is writing the file. So the way it'll work is, like when I read this book and I start the green rank one, then I will go to the web page and I will say, I've read the book. Okay, now you notice down here, this did not check mark. So I have to refresh that source. It is a little bit of a bugger, but I still have to do this, go over here and refresh. And then it'll take it. So initially what I wanted to do is fix my problem, right? My problem was I'm always looking over, I'm editing Notepad, and then I'm saving Notepad, and then my screen updates. But I didn't like the font, and there were a lot of limitations with Notepad. And so I just sat down and I started from scratch. And finally, after trying some things that you could pay for and other options, I just felt like the best option was this. And it's not horrible. Basically I have to click and I have to update my screen, so it will take a little bit. So we're going to start all of these. So I will just check them and get it over with. So at least that part there I can, okay, let's get you out of here, bro. Let's get you out of here, bro. There we go. But the other thing is, the more important thing is, I do actually have to start them because I just said I did. I think I might have made one. Read the first story. Continue. Close the book. And now, yeah, I'm going to have to do the same thing. So it's the same book, but now I got to read the second story. You get the gist, right? Now I'm going to read the third story. I risk repeating myself too often, driving people away. Nope, let me repeat that in a different way. More accurately, driving person away. Yep, I like that. I think I'm going to make two little changes here. I'm going to press the F10 button so I can... It's going to bring that up there. I think that'll look okay. And then the other thing I want to do is go over to OBS, find this thing. We'll put it here. Yep, that looks good. I should highlight the checklist so that I can just hit refresh over there when we update this thing. So we are going to Nectulos Forest, and we're going to look for shadowed men, miscreants, wisps, and so on. And I bet we're going to probably repeat a lot of things as we go. Because if you know the book quests, you know that my brain, it deceives me. Okay, we're going to go on shore because that's where the crabs are going to be. We'll start with the crabs on shore. We know where the shadowed men are. We've killed plenty of those. All ashore, let's go ashore. There's one. Suppose I should have my sidekick on board too. The mercenary, it's more like, the guy's got to make a living. Splash damage is the name of my game. I think I spent the entire day yesterday offline because I was trying to get that interface working. My little quest updater. I'm really happy with it though. I gave the dogs their medicine like at 8 o'clock. And then you'll want to wait 45 minutes for it to take effect. It just helps them empty their stomach. The one French bulldog, it's got some issues. So I got to read the black rank. Okay. The black rank's the middle one. Blood rank is the other one. Well, look at there. They want some crabs, of all things. Here's one thing that you'll know if you watch more than a little bit. I don't tend to finish my stories. Okay, I get distracted with the quest stuff. Isn't that something? I get distracted with the quest stuff. I should be getting distracted with the real life stories, but... So I feed the dogs, I'm waiting the 45 minutes, and the next thing you know, I think to myself, have I fed those dogs? And it was 1 in the afternoon. And it was because I was trying to get Stream Elements to do something as well as it. But when you do a custom, if you do a custom widget over there, which is what I need, if you do a custom widget, there's stuff that they expect you to do with the widget. There we go. We get that off our screen. The custom widget is not for whatever you want. It's for notifications, for followers, for bits, various other donations, subscriptions, raids. And I didn't want it to do any of those things. I wanted a checkbox that I could interact with. And the problem with all of them is you can't interact with anything on your screen, which is really weird because they made this chat box here, and this chat box you can see and I can see, and that I can interact with on screen. I don't have a clue if it even works. Because nobody has ever said anything in chat. Ever. Other than one guy who basically said, I had to follow you because I wanted to tell you that I'm not going to watch you. I got to read you the journal. I don't understand why somebody would take the time to follow me to tell me that they're not going to watch me. And then they gave a reason, which I thought was valid, but... I was being negative about the game. But I wasn't whining. But, negativity, a lot of it is... it's up to the consumer to decide if something's negative or not. I mean, it's the way you interact with information, or the way you interact in in exchange with a person. Doesn't matter if they thought it was negative or not. If you think it's negative, well, certainly. What's the... How do I say this? What's the result of negativity? It's the way that you feel regarding the encounter, isn't it? Maybe I'm missing something. So the fact that I disagreed with the person who followed to tell me they, thought that they wondered why I was even playing the game because I didn't like it. I've talked about this before, but the only reason I've talked about it before is it's the only person that has ever chatted. This is a rough game, man. I'll tell you. You're going to be a starting streamer. Don't go to EverQuest II. You'll be on the top row of streams because there is only a top row, but the only people I think that watch EverQuest II streams are EverQuest II streamers. I got to read this old journal again, the old black one. So what I hope is that because the VODs do get watched. All right, I need these marauders. Okay. At least they're not the, what was it the other day? The assassins. Vandals. The Vandals? Rare? Like this guy? Rare. Of course, that'll be all that spawn is Vandals, I imagine. We got a bandit. We got a dockhand. Here's the thing. We need marauders, folks. Marauders. Scoundrel. I need a marauder. I feel like I didn't finish the story there a second ago. We got one. I need a clip of the movie October Sky where they're in the launch, the protective barrier, in their little out at Cape Colwood in the Slack Dome, and everything that they send up is exploding. And they find out later it's full of air pockets, and anytime there's an air pocket in their jet fuel, their rocket fuel. Now, the rocket fuel was a solid mass, so they were literally... And I read the book to kind of get the truth of the matter because it's hard to trust a movie. The movies have to have like a good guy and a bad guy and so on. For example, in October Sky, his dad was a butthole. Homer Hickham's dad was just a pain. But in real life, his dad was more supportive than that. Now, he maybe didn't go to all the rocket launches and that, but he was the mine manager for that Colwood mine. So he was busy. But I think one thing you learn as you get older that life isn't a movie. And by saying life isn't a movie, I mean sometimes the good guy dies in the end. Sometimes things don't get solved. There is no soundtrack to life. That's what I like about the movie. A river runs through it. Because there's a line in there, life is not a work of art. And the moment could not last. He's talking about his brother, Paul, played by... boy, I had it. That was right at the tip of my tongue. Yep, I'm trying too hard to think of it now. Brad Pitt. The character played by Brad Pitt was the brother Paul. He was addicted to gambling and alcohol. And he was also the most amazing fisher, like he was an artist. Ooh, look, we have a quest over there. I wonder what I had to do to get that quest because it wasn't there the other day. But the narrator, it's narrated by Paul Newman. Says that they were just watching his brother fish, like they were just sitting there taking it all in, and just the sort of the beauty of his fly fishing technique. And he's like, I knew in that moment I was witnessing perfection. My brother stood before us, not on the banks of the mighty Blackfoot, but suspended above the earth, free from all its laws, like a work of art. And I knew surely and clearly that I was witnessing perfection, and that life is not a work of art, and the moment could not last. And then that transitions into him getting the phone call. One day he gets a phone call that his brother had been beaten to death and his body was thrown in an alley. Yeah, it gets dark right after the light, doesn't it? All right. You have earned the right to attempt my final task for you. I warn you, this will not be easy. Pathetic though the elves may be, they are tricky and have received some training. When you wiped out the Kinosian scouts, their leader declared blood feud upon you. Blood feud is traditionally reserved for dark elves, but this leader has taken the right for himself. You must go face him and teach him what a blood feud really means. I think this is the one we did get to, and then I decided it took an epic. It would take a group of people to kill it, and I'm not gonna try to solicit people to mentor down and make the fight trivial and take their time, or to find anybody at this level where it would, have some consequence. I will be pleased to add his head to your collection. We live for the kill. The captain of the Kinosian scouts that I killed has declared a blood. I must go face him. We live for the kill. This does not look like it's an epic quest, though. No. All right. Go, my young pupil. His death makes you strong. So if you don't know what you're doing, then this is, of course, my distraction of the morning. If you don't know what you're doing, I should find the scout captain Underwood at the Kinosian camp north of the entrance to the Common Lands. North of the entrance. North of the entrance to the Common Lands. I feel like I want to... Okay, what am I killing here? Nereus Marauders. Oh, yeah. These guys that are not popping. Wow. Wine and you shall receive. Getting caught in geometry. Whenever I hear the word geometry, I think of sophomore year in high school for some reason. An old key. Hey, I think I was waiting for this. The witch's key. This is awesome. I needed that quest. I think it did. Let's go ahead and look at my... We'll find out. Let's blow it up for the viewers. We're going to go to the 20s, right? And that's going to get us to Neck Forest. Oh, darn it. I'm not seeing it. 'Cause it'd be white, you know, that I hadn't done it yet. And it'd have a D by it. Because there were a few. This bat fruit of the Nectalos I was trying to get to drop. And this put down I was trying to get to drop. But so the one that I did should have a D by it. The one about the key. Let's see what level it is, and then John. No. The witch's key. Hey, good morning. The spreadsheet is a 1 of 1, basically. I was building it for more than a year, trying to. I'd be happy. I have actually a more complete one than this one, and I would be happy to share that with you. I think so. You would just need a Google account. I kind of lost it here, but here it is. Yeah, so I have a more complete one. I really like it because you can see where in the beginning here I've put the. Because I really wanted to the whole idea is that let's do all of this stuff, but as we do it, let's sort of document our journey and savor the game. Like, they put a lot of work into this. Let's not rush to the end game. Let's just stick with Shattered Lands. What was the whole idea here? What was going on? How did we get here? Right, from EQ1. How did we get here? I didn't play EQ1. And so, yeah, I just made this spreadsheet. So I thought, let's start here, kind of document what all that is. And then I just tried to figure out a way to do it. The only downside is if I did share this with you, you'd have to put some trust in me because there is a script that runs in it. And all the script does is it just looks for a checkbox. If it sees a checkbox, it will see if it's in the true or false state. If it is in the false state, it leaves this cell right to its right alone. If there is a check mark in it, it notices that, and then it will turn this green. But the only way that I could pull that off is if I created a script to do it. So, that's one thing that somebody just seeing somebody on the internet, and then they're using one of their documents, and there's a script running in it. So. Oh, you just subbed a couple of weeks ago. So that is what you should do. I totally recommend it. Now, and of course, if you're on this server, it's free, or if you pay, you get some bonuses. But when you play this way, and I don't know if you've ever seen one of my streams before, but my suggestion is do the trade skill stuff first if you can. You might not be able to because you just don't have the resources there. But once you get your trade skills high enough, it unlocks flying for adventuring. And as far as I'm concerned, adventuring is a grind. And there's so much to enjoy about questing, so much, especially learning about locations that you didn't appreciate the first time you played the game. But the second thing is that you learn the richness of the lore. And I will do crazy things that most people won't take the time to do. Is I'll just go look for details and I'll wonder about stuff like this, right? And so you'll see there's a map of Norath in this design, and that's really cool. And what does all this stuff mean? And eventually you'll figure out, oh, that's a trader. Like this is the trader's symbol. and it's a whole network of people. But yeah, that's what I did. So my step one was working with like Chat GPT, and I told it what I wanted to be able to accomplish, and it helped me write the script. So after we worked for a long time on getting the script right, now I can just create a brand new sheet anywhere, and as long as I insert a checkbox in there, then it will just look next door, and if I check it, it turns green. So it's really cool. But anyway, one thing, the problem with me when I'm streaming is my thoughts are all over the place, to fill in the dead air. So being able to get off the ground and move around when you're doing these quests, I don't think it spoils the experience. Unless you're really into role playing and I want to run everywhere, I want to make this. But to me a couple things. So when you get the paid membership, right, you can do research on your skills. You can upgrade these. And because you're going so slowly, once you hit level 20, you can get your spells and things up all the way to the ancient level without feeling like pressured to pay for the upgrades, because I just started this one here this morning, and it's only 8 more hours before it's the next level up. So, or 50 cents. Right? But so you don't need it. You can take a trade skill and actually have some value in it, because you can use the stuff that you make. So this guy's an alchemist, but I might level up an armor so that I could make my own armor as I go. And the master crafted armor has great value in this game at the lower levels. And it's content too. Right? So I look and I see there are people on board that have 8,000 quests done. And I'm not into like public victories. I'm more into private victories. So I don't care that if I have more than somebody else. But the private victory is, can I do all of them in this one zone? Can I find all 100 some in Antonica and get them done? Yes. So if you're a paying subscriber, once you hit 20, you can do the ones below 20, but it's at 20 when the research begins, and it happens silently too. So it's your K key, but then I don't know if you've been in or if it exists, but then you have the upgrades tab. So, and then of course they splash that on there, like, how about if we don't wait 7 hours and you pay 50 cents instead? Or this one, if you hit that, it will go all the way to ancient. Like, it just skips everything. Now, what you see there is this harm touch. I know it's really hard to see on a Twitch stream, small font, but that's saying the next step. And once it is ancient, then it disappears. So there is some pay to, and because I think pay to win is maybe a little punitive of language. At the high end, if you are level 130 and you're competing with other people and you put money in to bypass because the research takes forever at that level. If you pay a lot of money to bypass the research, you are paying for that public victory, right? Being the first guild to do something, being out in the world, wearing that fabled gear that you have to get by doing good things. So that's the public victory. But to me, then, there's also private victory at that level, which is, well, you don't do top-end content, right? Maybe your guild does the tier before, because that's all the better you can do without paying a bunch of money. So I absolutely celebrate and admire whichever play style somebody wants to do, because I enjoy knowing that people are enjoying this game. And if that means paying a bunch of money for, gear and stuff to make them stronger, what do I care? But people get pretty passionate about it, and I think the reason they get passionate about it is because they don't want to have to pay that money, but somebody else is. And if I'm going to keep up with them, then I have to do it too. But, or you say the game's too easy. Well, if the game's too easy, turn off your experience. My experience is turned off right now. So I don't want to level up. This server right here is Maj Duel. Maj Duel, let me tell you my dream, because I've never had anyone actually talk in chat before. So I don't really get to talk to people about sort of the big goal here. My goal would be to either play on Origins or here, but have a guild of people who had real lives, and they didn't know from 1 minute to the next if they were going to be able to be at their computer. And that there would be not just an understanding, but like a true sort of, I get it, to it. Where if you got to group together to go into a dungeon and try to, get stuff that's difficult to kill, that anybody at any given moment could leave and just say, I got to go, guys. And it'd be, that's cool. Your life is pretty important. Your family's important, whatever it is. You go do that. Because the game loses its fun when you feel like you have to put a seatbelt on when you sit down to play it. And the other thing that I would love to see is if people get it, that join a dungeon group. It doesn't matter how good you are at it. We'll figure it out. I don't do dungeons because of some bad experiences in World of Warcraft. I'm an old man. All right. Well, it looks like I have 2 dogs here. 2 dogs. You guys are down here for me, aren't you? After 20 years? Yeah. Yeah, I just popped in and I just got berated by... And look, I know I was very frustrating. I was your typical hunter. I was the classic hunter, right? I wanted something that took no skill to play. At least, you could hide a lack of skill by some of the mechanics. You can hide there. But I was so classic in that I'd forget to put my pet away and then jump down in Gadgetron or whatever that zone is, and then pull the whole zone and wipe the group. And yeah, I'm not accustomed to being bullied in real life, but boy, I got bullied online pretty good. But I do have a level head where I'm like, yeah, I get it. They were frustrated. If they knew me as a human being, that wouldn't happen. Right? They'd be like, come on, guy, get her together. And they'd give me a hard time while chuckling. But because they didn't know me, then they were giving me a hard time with hate in their hearts. Man, so we weren't good for each other over there, were we? Like, I was making their day worse, and they were making my day worse, and so God bless them. They have fun, but I'll just come over here where I can just kind of hang out and do my thing. But yeah, I do enjoy playing this game. I do love playing with a fine-tooth comb, because here's what happened. So that's me too, right? I was over there on Origins, and I gave the old let's go get them, guys. And for the reason that I just explained, that I can't, I get anxious if I'm stuck air quotes, if I'm stuck in a group and we get the Stormhold or whatever, and then I'm like, all right, let's get going. And I feel like I have to dedicate the next hour and a half to really get the XP grind in there going. And Origins is a lot of that. Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. And less about take it all in. So I can go into Stormhold now on this server, and I can look around at the architecture and wonder, like, what's the story behind this? How did this, why is this here? Like, there's some scrawling on the wall in the hallway there. And because I've played this game for a long time, I need to stop and appreciate it. It's kind of like if you date somebody or you're married for a long time. You got to sometimes stop, and then you just got to remind yourself, there's a lot to appreciate here that's going unappreciated. And that's this game. So this is my way of saying goodbye to it. It's probably going to take 2-3 years, maybe 4, to say goodbye. But I am enjoying every moment because I don't know if this will be the last time in, for example, Nectalos Forest. I don't know. But my plan is to never be back here again after I finish with it. And I think knowing something is coming to an end, something that's been important to you, I think knowing that it's coming to an end helps you appreciate it. So it isn't a moment of sadness. It's a joyous, it's a moment of celebration. Here we go. Let's do this. Let's see what Nectalos Forest is all about. Because typically when I think of Nectalos Forest, I think, oh gosh, here we go again. This dark and dreary place. It's full of spiders. You can't take 2 steps without a rumber root chasing you down and biting you in the ass. And that mentality has changed this game 100% for me. Saying, let's play this for the last time. And say goodbye to an old friend. Say goodbye to this zone. And I think that's one of the reasons that I like to just turn off my experience. And then know, I'm not going to out-level this stuff. When the zone turns gray, it's played out, right? I do lose my patience every once in a while. Like I've had like the other day, I spent 2 days straight in Nectalos Forest, and I've had enough, right? But I went into the dungeons under Freeport, I think, and I did that higher level content. And then when I came back to Neck, I was glad to be out of the sewers of Freeport. So yeah, I just grabbed all these books today. That's going to be my focus on getting these book quests done. I got to make sure my wife is up, because if she's not up, then the dogs are doing things they shouldn't do. Let's see. Here's my dog break screen while I'm gone. I guess the dogs are being taken care of. Yeah, it is. It is a hello goodbye thing. When when you're fresh to a game, it's hard to know, if it's the right class for you anyway. So oftentimes it's just the beginning. But anymore, I mean, you're probably thinking to yourself, you're not going to be playing this game, 20 years from now, like I was. 2006 started. It isn't like I, was here for 20 straight years. I came and left. I missed several expansions, and then I would come back and try the new stuff. A game is sort of like a relationship, though. Like a long-term game is a relationship. And after a while, you do notice flaws. And you just decide if those flaws are part of the allure of what you're doing, or, if they're a part of the flavor text, or if they're deal breakers. I know that if I liked EQ1, that I would really just be, my mouth would be watering waiting for Pantheon. But because I didn't, I'm not in love with the fonts and that they use. Feels a little bit like EQ1 to me, so it's probably going to be a hard pass, even though I have. But then the other thing is going to be is like whatever they end up calling the next EverQuest thing. Like, boy, what are they going to do differently? It sounds like a reboot. Maybe that's the last thing they were saying, was that they're going to take EQ1 and maybe. And I have no problem if they want to save money on, all that development time coming up with lore and locations and so on, and just want to dress it up. That's fine. But I think it's a tight rope walk. I think it's a tight rope walk between too casual and too hardcore. Like, it's just, you just try to hit the sweet spot with that bell curve where the biggest audience is. Because at the end of the day, most of these game creators aren't in it for the art, right? For the art of it, they're in it for the revenue of it. And I mean, that's why people get in their car and drive to work, right? So you need money to survive. I'm not into sort of demonizing people for making money. I don't demonize this game for having microtransactions in it, because I would rather have people electively pay for chunks of content and items and gear that, appearance things. I would rather have people paying for that and keeping the subscription price the same place it was in 2004. And it's funny because I've had an attitude for a while, and now they just made it so you can have different tiers of subscriptions. And that's the weirdest thing. I noticed that in writing, people are not in favor of it. These subscription perks that they've added. So you could pay more for a month for different things. But they tend not to support it with their words, but they seem to be supporting it with their wallets. I think sometimes people feel like now they're obligated to what? Like on Origins, the first thing I did was bought the mount and the storage. I mean, I think I bought it before I even logged in. I believe I was waiting for the servers to come up that day. And I was there, right? I was there, lathered up, like, let's do this. And I got to read the old journal. The black one. But it just slowly sunk in, like, oh no, this is a real I'm going to have to do groups to actually do this stuff. And at some point in my gaming career, the leveling, like the I leveled up, that would be a big dopamine hit. Like, man, I'm leveling up, man, let's do this. And somehow over the years, that faded away. Probably after my hardcore rating years, that faded away. And I don't need to level up. I need to accomplish stuff. I rarely change my appearance gear, but that's what I was in it for. I was in it for the appearance gear too. I wonder if I can make my background be here. Settings. I need the general. Widgets. Body, background color. Yeah, I'll have to figure that out sometime. I'm not sure when you bopped in or whatever, but I was explaining that I run this little widget over here because it can be 15, 20 hours between what somebody says in chat, so I typically miss it. So now I have it ding. I have it ding, so I actually notice some of these chats. It's a rough go. I'm back to the Marauders again. I tell you what. I may need to leave these Marauders and let them respawn. Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm glad that caught your eye. Yeah, I think I was basically talking to nobody at that point. But one of the things I do is I imagine nobody's watching, but somebody might watch the video on demand later on. And so that would be good if it had some narration in it. I typically will cruise around and I'll look for other streams, but they like this weekend I saw 3 people streaming one time, and they were the only ones watching their stream. It wasn't like there was an EverQuest II streamer and they had all the viewers and the other people didn't. That wasn't it at all. It was 3 people streaming and nobody watching. So it kind of helps you kind of, have this mentally, like you say to yourself, okay, what's the point of this? Why am I doing this? And I feel really sort of, I want to get the right word because I don't want it to mischaracterize, but somebody that would like to do this, like they're a really young person and they'd like to do it as a living, like full time. Wow, I feel like that is like saying you want to play in the NFL. It can happen. The odds are so slim. The people that get in early and streaming, there's a lot of retention for the people that were here back in the the early So you basically have like the main streamers on the platform. And then now you do have that group that's just extremely talented in whatever they're doing. Of course you do. And I don't mean extremely talented at streaming. I mean, who would that be? Maybe Ludwig? There aren't a lot of people you think, wow, what an amazing like streamer. You usually think of people that are really talented in the game that they're playing, that they really do things hardcore, or play something as a pacifist or something like that. They made something that's really noteworthy. So, but the majority of the people, I got to read the book, Bird Watching, the Ash Dodo. This is where you got to kind of manage. Okay, we're going to get our aggro there. But I don't remember which one the Ash Dodo was. Oh, it was the first one, thanks to my overlay. No, it wasn't. They're not in alphabetical order. Okay, let's try again. The Ash Dodo is book 2. How's that? Okay. The Ash Dodo is the 3rd book. Of course it is. We all knew that. There we are. More Shadowed Men. See how that is now? I was right in the middle of saying something and I got distracted by the quest. I was talking about that earlier. I don't get distracted by real life. I get distracted. The quest distracts me from a pointless story I was in the middle of, or a comment. Anyway, yeah, I was talking about how rough it must be to have this dream of streaming, because you might as well have a dream of playing in the NFL or the NBA. The chances of really popping off and making a living of it. If you have any life at all, right? If you're not single, if you're willing to put your life on a standstill, or have someone helping pay for your wherever you live or whatever, that's certainly helpful. But you know, how do you pay for insurance and put money into retirement? Oh, the troubles of youth, eh? So what character, like what class are you playing? Or are you just kind of dabbling in? Like, you're going to stick to one for a while or dabble in it? Oh, that's right. You like the stream running when you're playing, so I don't want to distract you from the game. Okay, I'm reading that book again, I think. So you picked some good ones there. It seems like you hit the major ones. Obviously you recognize the buttons here of an SK. And I always default to SK. I probably have 5 or 6 of them. Okay. Yeah. So every once in a while I notice somebody is watching, but they haven't said anything in chat. And I'm like, I know there's times that I will go into somebody's thing. I don't want to be called out. You know, I don't want to hit the follow thing and then have a song play. Okay, so you go way back with the SK. I don't know, there's something about them. Some people say, well, you know, that's too predictable, or it's not challenging enough. Like, you know what? The challenge isn't in the fight. The challenge is in sticking to something, right? Like, there's been more than one streamer. There's more than one YouTube person that's come on and said, I'm going to try to do all the quests, you know, and a month later, the stream stop or the videos stop. But there's days it's really challenging because there's other things I like, other games I like, but I don't know that I would, like, that's not a product necessarily that I might want to put out there. Even though there aren't many consumers, it's maybe not a product I'd like to put out there. Because to me, what I have here is I can share the passion for it. If I switch to a different game and stream that, I think maybe it's a matter of I will be sharing my awkwardness or inability. And I would have no problem with that, but I have been streaming every day at this time during the week. So it's usually first thing in the morning. And if anybody has a job, especially on 9 to 5, they're not gonna be able to catch me live. Definitely not the peak of viewing time. The peak viewing for Twitch is going to be somewhere around, at least my local time, it'd be somewhere around that 2 to 8 or even 2 to 10. Or you could push it 4 to 8, 4 to 10 there at night. So I do keep my VODs on there, and then I move all of my VODs over to YouTube as well. I mean, they're not produced, they're not edited, so it's pretty raw, and there is downtime. But the beauty of that having a VOD is that you can, like, if I leave to go take care of my dogs or something, or you want to, skip through the blah blah blah, because I certainly have moments of blah blah blah. Oh, you do work? That's good. Yeah. So, how long you been working from home? Oh, they want more of these things. I tend to be a second screen lurker. Perhaps you might use that word there, but I can't really have it on when I'm streaming because it covers up my audio. Yeah, that was a sort of... COVID wasn't a... you could have come away from COVID just defeated, deflated, worse for the wear. And my dad died during that time from COVID, and it was your classic. You can't, he's in the hospital, he's facing the end of his life, and you can't go in there and comfort him. Whatever people do toward the end of life interaction. And when that happened, I kind of sat in that for a moment, because how often does your dad die? It's a one of one, right? So I kind of sat in it a long time. And I noticed that in sports, if they have someone really close to them, the athlete, someone's really close to the athlete dies, rarely do they disappear, right? They're there. You still see them going through all that trauma, just kind of dealing with it. And when he died, I kind of felt like that. I felt like all of the reasons I have now to be sad, to kind of look at the thing, and I said, you know what? Yeah, boy, that's a rough go, man, right? That is a rough go. I had a friend with that same situation with the dementia. It's a rough go. So my takeaway from my dad dying was this. I know this is not. There's no ill intention in this comment, but I said this can either be the worst moment of my life or the best moment of my entire life, his death. And I said, how the hell could this possibly be the best thing that's ever happened in my life so far? And I said, it all comes down to what's my takeaway? How am I a different person because this happened? And then I kind of got my brain opened up to the idea that, you know what, maybe that's true. And so what happened at that point was I came away with, and I felt like almost like I got inspiration from him, which is a weird thing to say, but because I'm not a big, overly spiritual guy, but what I came with was everything that happens to us in life, you can see it as an obligation or as an opportunity. And it's all what you do with it and how you mentally deal with it, like your attitude toward the challenge, whether that's an opportunity or an obligation. And the first thing I was, Christ, I don't want to do this stupid funeral thing. I'm already sad. Now we're going to throw some sad music on top of it, and all these people are going to come up and give me their condolences, and I'm going to be trying to hold it together and be the strong one. And because I cry easily, then it's going to look like I need more attention than my 6 brothers and sisters because I'm the one taking it the hardest, but I'm not taking it the hardest. I'm showing it the strongest, but I'm no more sad than anybody else. Then I'm like, no, it's not an obligation. It's an opportunity. Part of my dad, they will see in me, his brothers and sisters, which he has plenty, I said, okay, I will be a light in their life when they see me. And it's my opportunity to make them their day, that day of his mourning his passing or celebrating his life. It's that. And then everything I've done since then, I've just seen it as opportunity. And when I find myself moaning, I say, what a great opportunity. So when that came up, when you talked about sort of COVID hitting and how that, brought you back to your home and working from home and then you talking about the opportunity that it gave you because you're there, that's kind of why I went down that road. And I tend to ramble. And I used to be a teacher, elementary teacher, and my students would always say, I miss your stories. I get going. I tell my stories. But the weird thing is, in real life, I don't talk that much. I'm the quietest one in the room. When I talked about A River Runs Through It, and Norman MacLean wrote A River Runs Through It. He wrote this poem one time because he was a big fisherman and outdoorsman. So. And he was talking about how he was sitting on the bank of a river that it used to be full of water. Yeah, I think at the bare minimum, even at a non-religious level, at the bare minimum, I've seen a lot of these studies with autistic, like extremely autistic kids who have a level of understanding, a level of knowledge that you need. How do I say this? They're mediums in a way, and that they know about things that they should never know about. Like this one girl could read hieroglyphics. She had never seen it in her life. She was extremely autistic. Now, how would that be? Well, you'd have to have had some exposure to it in the past. And they knew for a fact that she didn't have any real life modern day. So their whole point of takeaway there was that our bodies die, but not our essence. They didn't say soul or something like that. They say our essence doesn't die with it. So anyway, the river, this poem about the river, and I don't have it memorized, so who cares if I don't have it memorized? Just thought I'd add that in there. So this poem about the river was really meaningful to me. Yeah, like energy, like an aura, like a. It's like you can be around someone who's really important to you, and you don't even have to have an exchange of words or contact. Just their energy itself. But anyway, the guy was sitting on the bank of the river, and the water no longer flowed through the river. He was looking at a creek bed, and he he noted how much he understood more about the ebbs and flows of when that river was vibrant and alive. He understood it so much more clearly, and when he could see what was going on underneath, when he had time to explore it. And he said that you can understand something at a deeper level through its death. And I felt that way a lot about my dad. Like, it's so weird to say, but I get to know him better every day, even though he's been gone for 4 years. And that isn't like a consolation prize either. It's not like me going, like somebody hearing that wasn't a big spiritual person might go, well, yeah, good luck with that. Good luck making pancakes with that. But I don't know. I don't know how much more depth to put into that. I mean, it's just a matter of, it's not something to hang my hat on to say, this is all I got. It's me noticing him in my brothers and sisters. Like, if you know someone really well, you kind of get a sense of the advice they might give you in a situation. It's like that. But sometimes, once all the noise and the laziness of just getting it from them, once that's gone, then you're able to really look at the energy of who they were, if we use that word, and then you can figure out sort of their advice to you. The other thing I noticed is that people they ask this, if someone really important to somebody dies, they'll sometimes ask in their sorrow somebody who has just gone through it, like, how long does the pain last? I think that's a really common thing. Like, how long do I have to deal with this? And I looked at it a different way. On my bad days, when I was my lowest, tears in my eyes, those are the days that his memory was the strongest, that his presence was the strongest, that sort of the human being that he was the most vivid to me. And I had to learn to lean into that sort of stuff and just enjoy it, that it was still there. And then eventually, like right now, I'm talking to you about it, I'm talking about his death. And tears are not creeping in. I'm not trying to swallow a lump in my throat. Mm-hmm. Just 4 months, eh? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that a lot of mental health issues are a lot of mental health struggles, I think, are, what's the word? The captive of our inability to express them, maybe? Yeah, strength is an amazing word. Like, it takes a stronger person to govern themselves than it takes to govern a city. I try to be an open book if I can. Yeah, your comment rings true. My dad was your classic dad, I guess, from the 70s. Or don't show any weakness, and what they thought was weakness was emotion. So I grew up thinking my dad hated dogs, because whenever a dog, we lived on a farm, whenever a dog would come into the yard, he would yell at it, chase it, he'd even like shoot, gun in the air to get the hell out of my yard. And after he passed, I asked my mom, "Boy, there's one thing you could say about him, is he sure hated dogs." And she said, "No, you misunderstand completely. When he was like 12 or something, his dog died, and it ripped him up so much that he said, he made a promise to himself he was never gonna let another animal fall in love with another animal. So he was chasing him away because of how much he loved him, rather than. But so what he taught me there was that all of the joy that he threw away for fear of paying the price of sorrow, So I will never, when my mom begins to take that, when the road is clear that the days are numbered. Of course they are numbered when she's over 80, but I'm not going to chase the dog away, I'm going to lean into the dog and love the dog. And Mom, you're a dog. How do you like that? So yeah, when COVID hit, I was able to work from home for a little bit, being a teacher, but that was very unfulfilling. That's so unfulfilling. You're not into teaching the handout worksheets. You're in teaching for the relationships. At least at the elementary level. I can't speak for high schoolers, but at the elementary level, you're there for the relationships. For the, I basically was like, my attitude was I want students to understand that there can be an adult in their life that cared about them in the odd situation that maybe they didn't feel that way. Like maybe they were invisible because I was in a very high poverty school district. So certainly it could be understood if there were a lot more concerns than just putting food on the table is a huge concern at that point. Okay, good. I'm glad I wasn't alone. I didn't really talk to a lot of people about sort of their opinion of it. And I know some people liked it because they could do their job but also be with their family. The only positive, and she might agree with this, is that with remote learning, then the teacher gets to go to the bathroom when the urge strikes rather than wait for a bell to ring like a Pavlovian dog salivating. Like that's the thing I hated the most. One of the few things that I didn't enjoy about teaching was pooping on command. It's true. You're a work from homer. And then I have like irritable bowel, so put that on top of it. Put that on top of it. You're like, oh no, don't. You feel like a little rumbling in your belly. You're like, oh no. Recess is not for another 45 minutes. Don't do this, not now. And of course, irritable bowel then is what's the word? It's aggravated by any stress. So it's, called the office one time. I'm like, I need somebody in here right now, or the kids are gonna see something that they don't want to see. I need to get in the bathroom. Luckily, toward the end, then I did some things that did not require me to be on a poop schedule. I took over the distance learning just right before COVID hit. I took over distance learning, which is weird, but I did. And then everybody that didn't want to come back, and a lot of families were scared to death. Like if the dad or the mom was a diabetic, then a lot of times they wouldn't want their kids back in school after COVID. So I can tell you though, distance learning, 99% failure rate, like of it not working. There's too many distractions at home. That's number one. Number two, very few people have parents that are able to be home to kind of monitor things and make sure the kids are working. Number three, distance learning in the sort of the more prevalent version of distance learning involves self-paced rather than teacher-led. During COVID, it was a lot of teacher-led because all the teachers were sitting at home. But self-paced distance learning, the goal is no longer to learn. Like when you go to school and you go into, let's say you go into biology in school, then the goal would be for the next hour you're going to be learning some biology. But you change the goal immediately when you're distance learning, because very few kids will sit down with the material in front of them and say, for the next hour, I'm going to learn about biology. Their goal changes from learn for an hour and it turns into get done. And you can accomplish get done by clicking stuff. Click, 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 scroll, click, click. I did my goal. And at the high school level, we had to start denying them. Like they wanted, they'd request distance learning. Either them or their parents would request it. And we would say, knowing your child's personality that we've experienced here, and how the value they got from direct interaction with teachers and supervision, it would be malpractice for us to endorse them doing that. Then we would give them the information so they could go, so they understood they wouldn't have to pay to go to a service for distance learning. We were saying, we can't endorse you doing this. We know in our minds it wouldn't be best practice for you to do that. And so we can get you in touch with somebody, another resource, but we are not going to put our school's diploma and put you in a position of failing, because we've seen it. We have enough evidence that you're going to. And not to take away your value, but we're saying, let's say you have pancreatic cancer. Well, then you have a 3% survival rate or something, right? Whatever. We can put that number on there. So we can say, if we put you in this situation, you have a whatever percent chance of success, and it ended up being 1%. makes grumpy people. And we weren't one of these really, really sort of, we weren't a district that wore politics on its sleeve. I'm trying to be very careful the way I word that, because I don't really have an interest in talking politics, but I don't know why streamers do. I do not know why somebody would put themselves in a position where they have an audience and then immediately say, half you people get the hell out of here. Oh, that's good. Yeah. I don't know the value of knowing a lot of, yeah. I really don't know. People say, you got to know what's going on in the world around you. Well, do you? You have more influence in your house that can make a difference in the world than the influence you have in the world to make a difference in the world. And I'm not, if that's what a streamer wants to do, then, you go do it, and you go do it well. I just said I didn't understand it. I didn't say, I did, that I condemn it. I like to be very careful that I don't come across as judgmental of another person's decisions. I'm enough of a handful, I'm enough of a handful to keep track of myself. I don't need to take notes and make sure other people are fighting a good fight. I think I feel that way across like all issues that are what might be hot topic issues. I feel that way across all of them. Yep, I do have an opinion, and in some cases a strong one, but here's the thing. That's mine. We all think the same way. That old saying, if we all thought the same way, one of us wouldn't be, we'd only need one of us if we all thought the same way. All right, I'm reading Bird Guide, but I don't know what the double-headed one. I don't even know which one that is. First one, maybe? There is some lore in these books. I mean, you can learn some things. Now, if I'm playing this for the last time for the lore, then I should be reading the books. But I actually looked at the text of the books before I started the quest. I found an archive of the information in the books. For example, let's see if I can. I'm doing this series of you probably couldn't hear that. When I said I'm doing this series, then my phone must have heard me. I don't want to say it. I have an Apple phone, and you can see how the word series sounds like, hey, Siri. Anyway, so yeah, there's these 3 books, and they're about the Dragoons. So the Dragoons are all dark elves. And the Rise of Dragoon Zidel, Green Rank, a dark elf. So this is sort of the Reader's Digest version, or the Reader's Digest was written at a 4th grade level, and I think this lore stuff makes more sense at a 4th grade level. So, a dark elf chronicles his ruthless rise through the ranks of the dragoons, once known as Tixerd. So I went into Chat GPT and I said, look, here's this guy's name. How would you say it based on what you understand about linguistics and so on? And so rather than having these goofy names that I got to look at, I just had it look at it and it said it's Tixerd. So he was known as Tixerd. He sheds his past through brutal trials, unwavering loyalty, and relentless combat prowess. From guarding a bridge to mastering deadly sword techniques, his devotion to the dark elven cause never wavers. So anyway, what I'll do is I'll find the text of the book. I'll feed it to AI, and then I'll let AI kind of, give me the Cliff's Notes version. And I need more Ashland wisps. I like to say wisps. Oops. I've turned all the vegetation off in this zone. It looks horrible without the vegetation on. Well, I guess I should turn it back on. The only reason I turned it off was because I was looking for those gardens. Like I was trying to harvest for a quest. Harvesting has changed in this book. It used to be more like World of Warcraft, where you couldn't harvest it if you didn't have the right level to do it. But now you just fail more. But you can go to the top end zone and fail a whole bunch of times. But you can still get skill ups from harvesting up there. But your skill ups are limited to the higher of your trade skill or your adventure level.
They want to kill us all! Charge! They want to kill us all!
This was funny. I remember getting to level 70 in the game. Because that used, when it was the cap, level 70. And there was a quest in the game. A big quest, like an important one.
Big one's coming!
That required you do some fishing, I believe it was. And that's the last thing people skill up in this game is fishing. And there were people that had to go all the way back to the beginning zones and try to find fish. Then they were fighting for... I wasn't in the game at the time, but when this game came out, and something like a harvestable item would spawn, that you only got 3 attempts at it. These days, you get 3 harvests from it, but back in those days, you got to collect it 3 times, and if nothing came out, you got nothing. And if something came out, it would only be one thing. So you weren't guaranteed you get any harvest off a node, but you weren't even, so you weren't guaranteed a skill up, and you weren't even guaranteed the materials. But you can see how fast I harvest so fast now because I have buffs and tools and stuff. And I wouldn't invest any effort into getting your rare harvesting chance up, because let's say it said 100% increased harvesting chance. It doesn't mean you have 100% that you're going to harvest a rare. It means if you had, 0.25% before, now you'd have 0.5% chance. So harvesting rares is already really low. I wouldn't give up good defensive or offensive armor for the sake of being able to increase my rare harvesting chance. Shoot, I should have read the book.
Kill everything.
I gotta read the Ash. I actually gotta read 2 of the books. All right. This, I swore that this game would be like streaming would be less challenging if I could have some interaction with chat, and it's not. I mean, it's like I forget what I'm doing, and I'm grateful. I'm grateful for it because to go, if you look at the number of hours of VODs that I have up there, is this number 19 or something? So I have well over, I don't know, I'd say maybe 70 hours of streaming. And it was like one chat message in 70 hours. All right, I'm reading a book. I'm reading one of these bird ones. I don't even know which one. Yep. That's the problem. If you don't notice that you should be reading the book, you're killing a mob that could be advancing a quest. All right, bird watching. That's the first one we got done for the day.
You just finished a quest. Oh yeah. Raise your sword up in the air. Claim your loot and take a rest. In EverQuest, you are the best.
The Ash Dodo is off the books. Quest number 1826. And the bonus prize is one less book I have to manage.
One's coming.
Okay, what do we got here? Okay, yeah.
Attack! Attack! Kill everything. Help! Big one's coming.
I don't know how you do your combat, but my combat is a button. It's on my mouse, and it's a 1. It just presses 1, 1, 1.
Help! Help! Big one's coming. Help! Help! Big one's coming.
Yeah, and say it loud and proud. Loud and proud, bro. A clicker. No wonder they... How did you last 20 years as a clicker? You must have been living in the shadows in World of Warcraft. They were running you out of town for being a clicker in that game. You're not one of the cool kids if you're clicking in WoW.
Attack! Kill everything. Attack! Attack!
One thing about this game, I'll tell you what. Exactly. Exactly. It's funny what not a huge veteran of that game, but I did learn that and I really really fast. It would be like it'd be like hushed tones in a dark hallway. They're like, hey, that guy over there, that guy's a clicker. All right, I got to read the guide again. I don't know which one. It was not the first one. And I don't know which one I finished, so we're going to do the second one. All right, the horned woodpecker is the second one.
Attack!
You know, you probably didn't grow up being 40, whatever you are. You said you were. You're probably not a hee-haw. You probably never watched hee-haw. You said you're a clicker, and then I see these grinnings. I thought of hee-haw. You got a clicker and a grinning. I'm a clicking and I'm a grinning.
They want to kill us all! Charge!
Back in the days when we only had 3 channels.
They want to kill us all! Big one's coming!
So yeah, when I was really into the raiding, and I was a dirge at that, I absolutely enjoyed every second of it. The funnest thing about a dirge is trying to out DPS your DPS classes, because boy would they take crap. Look at the dirge. He's out, and I would do I mean, I'd prep for the raid. I would, I had to betray to get the deity I thought would be best for my class. Back then, deities kind of were at their heyday, and they did make a big difference. And so I betrayed because the deity was an evil deity, and I was an Ixar living in Kinos, which you shouldn't be able to do, but I wanted to play an Ixar. Because I used to play with this one guy, and we joined this game at the same time. We didn't know each other, but we joined the game at the same time. Ended up in a dead guild. Like when we joined it, it was dead, and it stayed dead. And they were from England, and so they weren't even on when we were on. And eventually, since it was our first guild, each of us, it was like sheepishly like, maybe we should. I don't know. It felt like we were pulling off a coup. Like, where should we go? I don't know. And book 2. Then we left, and we ended up in a guild where we played almost the rest of our time. He left. Ooh, another quest done.
You just finished a quest. Oh yeah. Raise your sword up in the air. Claim your loot and take a rest. In EverQuest, you are the best.
This is a challenge. I try to, before the song is over, I try to update my overlay to get the quest show is completed. Anyway, point of that was the guy was an Ixar, and then he left the game. And then I just had to roll an Ixar. It's sort of my way of mourning his loss. Oh, I need the wisp. I need the little white floaties. So anyway, I made an Ixar, but I loved Kinos, and I didn't really care for Freeport. So my only choice there was I had to betray if I wanted an evil race in a good town. So I betrayed, and then maybe a year later, whatever. I had to go back to evil to get the bird troc. I can't say the word, but anyway, Bertroxilus or something like that. Bertrox. Anyway, that one, and he had some good like perks or whatever. I don't know. You did tributes, and then the tributes were used to get miracles, something. And those would up your DPS if you picked the certain ones. So that's what I did. And I got all the food, all the elixirs, all the adornments, everything to up my DPS. And by putting that much effort into, it was sort of a C-level guild where, like you think of a C-level student, just enough to get by. Yeah, that was the kind of guild we were. Just enough to get by. And we would roll. Like when in that guild we'd raid and you'd just roll the dice. It wasn't no DKP, right? Just roll the dice. Doesn't matter. So what I had started off with was a berserker. And I didn't realize, well, that tanks were for defense. Now, to be fair, it was an aggressive tank, but, you know, I didn't get it. So when we killed like our third boss mob in the Kingdom of Sky expansion, I rolled on the shield and I got it. And our main tank did not get it. Third story? No, it wasn't the third story. Okay, the first story. And more Ashland wisps. So some of these don't get categorized under Neck Forest. They get categorized under Tome quests. In the two major cities, Freeport and Kinos, there is a mage area. One is a tower, the other is, well, they're both kind of towers. And there's a sage. Maybe I should have said sage tower. I don't. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, they sell books. And they sell a lot of them. And the books are all have quests in them. So I guess you would say a purchasable quests for a couple silver. So the books, the tomes that I'm reading for these are, I got off of the sage. I kind of keep, because it isn't obvious where you, I have to show the spreadsheet here as soon as I get this last one. Okay. The way that I put them in the spreadsheet. Get her back up to 125, maybe 150. Is I put them under Tome Quests tab, and they're here. These are the ones that you can get, that you can purchase. And so what I did was I just went ahead and wrote down over on the side. You can see where I would actually be reading that book. So like I'm doing these bird watching ones. The ones in yellow are the ones I'm currently working on. And you can, this $sign means I bought them. They weren't a drop, but I bought them at that Sage Tower. And so, yeah, I'm working on anything that has, that I had, I made this column over here where I would do them. And so these are all Neck Forest, and so on. You get the point. And that's one way that I can keep track. And so I bought all the books. I put them all in the bank. And then when it's time to do the quest, I see if I have them. If you haven't used the feature yet, let me show you the feature. It's on your character screen. It's the magnifying glass. So it's hidden right now, I guess. This here. So if you have all those tomes, if you buy them all ahead of time, or it's a quest item that you don't plan on getting to until later, you just click on that. And then I might type in, oh, I need that Varsoon book. You can just type in Varsoon there, like that. And then it'll say like whether or not it found it. You can't really see my chat. Let me see here. It said no items matched Varsoon, so I don't. It like, well, what's something I might have? It'll tell you anywhere that elf maybe, dwarf. Nope. Well, they ain't good. I don't have a good example, but I have the do I have one with family in it? Okay, there. So it'll tell me where in my bank I can find it. It's very helpful. All right, I got to read the book again. What did I decide? I think I decided it was the first book. Well, I didn't decide it. I figured out that it was. All right, I just finished the quest. Let's celebrate.
You just finished a quest. Oh yeah. Raise your sword up in the air. Claim your loot and take a rest. In EverQuest, you are the best.
I got a late start on that one. I mean, updating it. I got it's halfway through my little tune before I realized. Marauder. So I gotta go back to the beach again. First thing I did when I retired was I went and subbed. I was in school, a school district a half an hour away for 35 years. And then we got done on a Friday. And then that next Monday, I was already, because I wanted to see what it was. It's weird. I wanted to see what it felt like to work in the same place I lived without driving a half an hour. So I did that. And it's a big school district. So what was weird about it was I came from a place where everybody knew me, right? When you're there for 35 years, you know the lore of the place that you work at more so than anybody. More so than anybody. And when I say that, I mean it. So there were like 100 employees. And I was there the longest. So and you should, after 35 years, I mean, that's no shock that you might be there longer than anybody else. So it was like I knew the lore, and then some of the people that were teaching there I had as students. As a matter of fact, the high school principal I had as a student. So you get a little bit of legendary status when you've been around that long. But I've never been I've never believed that one person has so much value that they can't be replaced. I've never been a guy that threatened, well, I'm gonna go then if that's the way you're gonna treat me. It's like, I know the next day. Look, it doesn't take long. It doesn't take many years for you to look. And I went to school at the same place that I taught at, so I had been there for years, over that period of time. I started in 1980, right? In 1980 through 1984, I went to school at that high school, and then I got hired back in 1990 all the way through 2024. And the thing that really hits home for you is an odd thing, but when you, in the fall, when you drive into the parking lot or out of the parking lot for the first time in the fall, when a football practice is going, and you look down at the football field and you see all the people that aren't there, all the people that seemed so important the year before, and the team is down there and practicing and they're doing just fine without them. And some of those guys are driving by and thinking, they're going to keep playing without me. And that really helped me stay grounded in the fact that nobody's so important that they're not going to. Matter of fact, I had a kind of a bad run where I had to be gone for a year because of some medical issues, and I barely showed up. And I was like the activities director for the high school, or for the middle school at the time. And they just moved on without me. But I mean, that's your option, right? That's your option. I had a good friend of mine who was the librarian and the head wrestling coach. And the day before the team finally made it to state, he didn't show up for work. And he was an old military guy. And when I say old, I don't mean he was old. I mean he had been in the military back in the day. So he was 44 years old, didn't come to work. And we found him. I went to go because he was a friend of mine. I went to his apartment to find him, and he had died in the middle of the night of a heart attack. He's just laying on his couch. I hadn't seen anybody who had died without, That was sort of a different look. Thankfully, it was the day after, it was just a few hours after, so we weren't dealing with, the decay and all that stuff. But and the team went to state the next, they went down there and they did what they had to do. There was something like that in Castaway, where he was talking about how he just had to. Oh, you say, I'm sitting here and I have ice in my glass. And how sad he was that he lost Kelly, and then. Yeah. But I had something like, but I keep going, or I can't remember how it goes. Here I am sitting, but I have ice in my glass. I have ice in my. I get this way, and then I gotta. You think I can find it if I just say I have ice in my glass?
We both had done the math, and Kelly added it all up. Knew she had to let me go. I added it up. Knew that I had lost her. Because I was never going to get off that island. I was going to die there. Totally alone. I was going to get sick, or I was going to get injured or something. The only choice I had, the only thing I could control,
was when and how and where that was going to happen. So I made a rope and I went up to the summit to hang myself. I had to test it, of course. You know me. And the weight of the log snapped the limb of the tree. So I couldn't even kill myself the way I wanted to. I had power over nothing. And that's when this feeling came over me like a warm blanket. I knew somehow that I had to stay alive. Somehow. I had to keep breathing, even though there was no reason to hope. And all my logic said that I would never see this place again. So that's what I did. I stayed alive. I kept breathing.
And we're going to end up getting a copyright strike if that music starts going. That's why I don't play with the music on in the game anyway, but I heard that people getting copyright strikes when they have the background music of a game going. No, that's all right. I'm not going to. All right, I need the... Firelight Shrillers and the Kodiaks. Firelight Shrillers, they're over there. If I just need them for this quest, I'll finish this book in no time. But it's unusual. This is the first time that a book didn't keep changing the mobs every time. These books keep using the same mobs over and over again. All right, I am reading The Monsters. That's the middle one, I think. Yep. Firelight Shrillers. Well, they're maybe going to go easy on me because there's enough of these I can keep reading the pages of the book. Can't see it. I can see it now. Oh. Black ring, okay. They want more of those marauders. Oops. I knew it. Okay, I gotta read the monsters again. The monsters was in the middle one. How do I keep forgetting which one I'm reading? Okay. All right, there, that was the middle one. Now I get the Shrillers. I must have good grip on these plated greaves I'm wearing. I can stand on the side of these. Come on, let's face it. If you were wearing metal armor, I don't know how well you would stand on the side of a rock. Alright, we got that one. We're reading the monsters again. Dusk Leapers. Jeepers Creepers. It's Dusk Creepers. Jeepers Creepers. It's Dusk Leapers. Sounds like the title of one of my streams. Dusk Leapers, the mobs that are around when you don't want them around. I should read the novel, The Monsters. Here we go. Yep. Dark and stormy night. Nice start. A young couple, having been lost for days in Nectalos Forest, now sought shelter from the rain. As they aimlessly wandered, a bolt of lightning struck the earth in a nearby valley. They glanced over at the flash, and they saw their only hope for shelter, a castle. The young couple quickly approached the castle. They were relieved to see candlelight in the windows. They banged on the front door and were shortly greeted by the butler. A couple was invited inside, and once they were told and told they could stay there for the night as long as the master of the castle gave its permission. The young couple was led to what appeared to be a workshop of sorts and told to wait there. All manner of strange instruments lined the shelves of the workshop, which were all arranged around what appeared to be 2 coffins. The young man walked up to one of the caskets, fully intent on peering inside, and at that moment, a shadow stretched out from the doorway. I just got a Charlie horse in my neck. The shadow belonged to an old man who introduced himself as Lord Everling, owner of the castle. He told them they were welcome to stay the night if they so desired. He apologized in advance, however, for any noise that might disturb their rest. He explained that tonight he would finally complete his greatest creations to date. The young couple expressed interest in his work. Everling invited them to watch the completion, but asked them to stay out of the way. He then called in his assistants, who gathered around the coffins. All the women were of varying ages, from little girl to young woman. They all shared the same face. Everling introduced them one by one, explaining they were his daughters. Lord Everling, what are you doing? So the book is called The Monsters. They, I imagine, are the monsters in this case. We will find out after we kill 2 more spiders. Oh, Mr. Spider. There we go. Let's find out what happened. For the next several hours, the couple watched as Everling, assisted by his daughters, adjusted the various instruments around the workshop. When he was done, the hush in the room was deafening. A moment later, a bolt of lightning coursed down a rod straight into the caskets. Lord Everling stepped over to the coffins and removed the lids, smiling proudly. Oh, Now we gotta kill again or we won't find out what happened. 7. Lords are leaping. Or Dusk's a leaper. Oh, 7 lords. It's Lord Everling. 7 lords of leaping. Lord Everling in Nectulos Castle. Alright. Polish them off. How we doing? We got 5? Yep, 2 more. I did the math there on the fly. That was pretty impressive. Okay, 1 more. Nope, I need ones on rocks. There's one. Seven. Oh no, I aggroed the rumble roots. And I can't read the books in the air, so I might as well just land and deal with them. Let's see what happens. So the whole family's there, and we're a little bit curious if these daughters, yeah, they look alike because they're his daughters, but what if they all look alike because he created them and they're, you know, we don't know. Let's find out. Inside the coffins were nothing more than dolls. Just like a child would own. Everling asked the couple what they thought. And confused, they just nodded and congratulated him on his creations. He told them he was enjoying that they liked the dolls. He pointed out that the hour was late and that they should all retire for the night. The heck? Oh, good. I need rumble roots. I was running low on spiders. Good. Actually, I'm enjoying this story. I'm wondering what's going to happen next. I know that Nectulos Castle is... Nectropos? Nectropos Castle? The young couple was led to their... All right. Thanks, bud. Enjoy your lunch. The young couple was led to their bedchambers by the littlest daughter. The child told them that they might want to consider finding somewhere else to sleep for the night, for her father wasn't feeling well. Having seen how proud the man was of his dolls, they knew what she meant. I don't. I'm going to have to read it again. The young couple was led to their bedchambers by the littlest daughter. The child told them that they might want to consider finding somewhere else to sleep for the night, for her father wasn't feeling well. Having seen how proud the man was of his dolls, they knew what she meant. But they also knew the dangers of the forest as well. They would take their chances this one time. Oh boy. This might not have been the best time to take their chances. We're going to file that one under bad idea. But it wouldn't be much of a story if it said, and then they left. Right? They went and grabbed the sandwich down at the Smash Burger joint. Yeah, that doesn't make a good lore text. Although there was a set of books about Oh, I was doing the history of class, the history of dwarves, the history of humans, the history of barbarians. I was doing those history of racial quests. And they all gave this deep tapestry of sort of how these races came to be and so on. Except one was like a kindergartner's report for her teacher at school. It, I don't know. It didn't fit in the rest. I mean, it was the dark elf. No, it was the air doll, maybe? It was one of the dolls. It was there Fair doll, air doll, and then the dark elves. So, not sure what that one is. Not a lore guy. Not a lore guy. I'm getting to be better at lore after doing this last run through the game, but so I was starting to learn things about the different races because I was actually paying close attention. Yeah, and then that one came along, and I was like, what? I mean, I got it, and it did sound like a report a young kid might write. You see the problem when she wrote it without doing any research? She was basically faking it, like a kid in school might fake a report, and you could tell they never researched a single thing. Two things happen, right? They don't research a single thing. They just say he's cool because he wears red shoes or something. Or they just rip it right out of Sports Illustrated and word for word, and it was obviously plagiarized. So this one at the end of the book, the history of the teacher said she had to rewrite it and try to put some facts in it this time or something like that. All right. One more set of kills for the monsters. The storm broke with the dawn, and the young couple awoke. They had never left better. That doesn't say left. It's just too small of a font. They had never felt... Oh, that was like a dyslexia thing. They had never felt better in their short lives. They thanked Lord Everling for everything. Hey, Everling, thanks for everything he did for them and left. Everything he did for them? I don't know that he did anything, did he? He showed him his little doll with his jumper cables. They trekked through the Nectalos forest, following a direct path straight to Freeport. They made it safely to the city and have led ordinary lives there to this day. Well, ordinary, save for one minor detail. Oh my goodness me. What was the minor detail? Rumble Roots, you die so I can get my curiosity massaged. I must kill faster because I must know this lore. I pronounce lore wrong. I say lures half the time. The lore can lure you in, I suppose. 5 and 6, 7. Hopefully that's a regular rumble root right down yonder in the Qualify patch. No, it's not. It's a deadly one. Alright, one more rumbling, tumbling, rumble root. Oh, there's a couple. Can't pull just one. Can't land without a neck crawler crawling up your neck. There we go. See, can't pull just one. We're going to find out what that one minor detail was. This is very exciting. Whew, here we go. I'm glad that I've never read these books before. See, I get to experience some of this stuff in this game for the first time and the last time. Just like our friend Stroby-Wan Kenobi. All right. Let's read that book. All right. Driver, move that bus. Here it is. We're going to find out. The couple has a reputation for purchasing clothes that are many sizes too small, and even sometimes forgetting their own names. In addition to that, they have been reported to have an odd look in their eyes whenever they are in the company of small children. When asked what they're thinking, they just smile and say, "I remember when I was that small." I found all the missing pages for the monsters. It's a fictional account of a young couple and how they found shelter in the night in the Nectulos forest.
You just finished a quest. Oh yeah. Raise your sword up in the air. Claim your loot and take a rest. In EverQuest, you are the best.
Look at there, I did it. I updated the old on-screen menu. Now I have 3 book quests yet to finish. I need these Kodiaks, which I haven't found many of, so that's going to be a little bit of an adventure and an endeavor. Endeavor, also known as Pain in the Tuchus. Ugh. Now, let's be buddies. Can't we all just get along? Oh, look at all these giants up here on the big rock candy mountain. Is that a named giant down there? No. I keep getting pulled the other direction because I feel like Kodiak bears should be somewhere other than these mounds of spiders. Yo. Mr. Kodiak. Now this looks more like... I need these guys? Oh, I need this for the blood rank of Dragoons.
Your eyes are so
Zatel.
pretty.
Zidal. Dragoon Zidal.
To me.
Now these might not be quite as fun if I keep getting the prompt to kill more of these, because they are a sort of a limited supply item. On the big rock candy mountain. Okay. Ooh, I jumped. So my whole plan was I was going to get up to level 25. And then grab some more quests, but now I don't really need to be 25 to do these books, so I'm not going to do it. Ten Kodiaks. What's wrong with these people? Uh-oh. Pulled everything off the trees for miles around. For Riles Mound. Those guys were not even close. My influence is far-reaching. It sounds like something in the sap urchin. Doesn't it sound like something you'd call a kid that you had an affection for, like, oh, you little, what's it called again? You little sap urchin, get over here. Like a rugrat, you know? You little sap urchin.
There is no escape for you now.
Shiny, we're looking for a pine needle, a Nectulos pine needle. Maybe a red one. No. Cracked halfling bone. I need 4 more of these motleys. Oh me, oh my! I hope that it at least switches to sap urchins or something. There's way too many. Oh my goodness! Blue buttons are the death of me. And another one. Oh good, it's not another one. That neck wasp is gonna join. How do I keep finding all these aggros off to the side? I don't know. Should I turn on singularity or whatever it's called? Singular force. Let's see how it goes. It says I cannot AoE, so I'm gonna fight this bear right next to this sap urchin and see if it actually lasts. Nope, it didn't last. They can still do splash damage with a singular focus on. Yeah, I could see that if this is like, I gotta keep doing these Kodiaks, this could get. This could. Look where I found them all too. It's not even blue. Like the map. The map didn't even. They're nomadic creatures. Oh boy, I didn't want that. I didn't want this either, did I? I wanted one of them. Now I'm gonna kill them all, and it's gonna tell me to get more Lost Dragoons. I'm gonna read the blood rank. Blood was the last one. Yeah, sure enough, more Lost Dragoons. Bring in the neck wasps. I'm gonna read the green rank. That's the first one. More motleys. Great. Great sandwich. Two out of 10. I think what we'll do is we'll continue to press on until we're at the 3-hour mark, and then we'll wrap up the VOD at that point. So about 10 minutes from now. And then I can go real life foraging. Some RL foraging. That's 7. We need 2 more. A little bit slow going here. Are those guys important? No. They're not. A little bit slow going? Okay, it's not a little bit slow going. It's slow going. Part of nostalgia, you gotta use the old quest style, which was, you know, the kill 10 rats thing. You want nostalgia, mister? Go kill 10 rats. I gotta read the green rank. There's 3 Kodiaks at least. They need 10 more. Kodiak Hunter or Slayer, whatever they Decimator, whatever they call that top level. By the time I get all these Kodiaks. Those neck wasps are so annoying. Yes, sir. We need to go some foraging for some real life grub. And I have nothing here. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'll probably have to run or celebrate a little gas station food, I guess.
Broken. Your blood calls to me.
Your blood calls to me. Not another neck wasp. Those son of a guns. Bears. Don't bears. And I need a lot of these suckers. Bring the wasps in while we're at it. I know how to get rid of the neck wasps. I need to pick up a quest that requires me to kill neck wasps, and I won't find any of them anywhere. That's the way it goes. Okay, we need some dragoons. We need anything that'll light up besides a wasp, because they're aggro. They're very angry. Dang roots. Can I just run by a root once in a while? Alright, we're going to fire this sucker up. Bear? Oh, I got to read. No, that's not it. Thought I might have had to read the book, but I don't. So I got to go to the beach yet and get the marauders. Is that our motley boy? 6, we got number 7 and 8 over here. That's good. No, that's not 7 and 8. They're not aggressive, but they're grizzlies. Since when? All right, 2 more, please. I have a dream that one day all motleys will have been found. Is that them up there? Oh, 2 more. There's my quest buddies. we're going to read the old green rank. Oh, boy, is this a bad spot? Doesn't appear to be any spiders around here. Is there 3 more? Yeah. All right, let's read the old journal. The thing is, when I'm not reading that journal, then I can see where the rumble roots are. All right. We're going to read green. Forest Leapers. Forest Leapers, that's a lot better. I bet I can get those before my 3-hour window is closed. So you can't always count on the map because it's just randomly something won't be on the map. It's just random. Like, I just don't know where those leapers are, but they're actually only showing me the well, that's dragoons there, so those aren't, are they? Those are dragoon sentries. Oh, I'm a long ways from. This may be a matter of me not getting the spiders. I thought it was going to be an easy, like, guaranteed they'll be there kind of a deal.
Your blood
I only need 2.
calls to
I'm going to back away in case I need that guy. Surprised I didn't pull him. Now this is the blood rank, so I think I'm a little farther in the blood rank one. No, I'm not that far at all.
death and its crimes.
There's the second one. Bonus prize. So they'll be there when they will have respawned later on. I might find a couple more just because it seems like a fairly small roaming area that they have here. Yeah, I had those forest leapers earlier. I made that joke that I couldn't even pronounce. Or I needed the for the book The Monsters. I was trying to say Lords of Leaping for Lord Everling and Nectropos Castle. But I need these are not the leapers then. These are the crawlers. But there are leapers. They're the ones with the rocks? Those are dusk leapers. Leaping lizards, Batman. That's a neck crawler. You little. Let's try over here. Let's keep our wits about us, folks. Let's keep our wits about us. How did that thing not aggro me? Yep, it looks like we're at a little dry spot. Okay. Well, that seems like a good place then to wrap her up. We're at the 3-hour mark for our VOD and for our YouTube. Oh no, I got a Charlie horse in my neck. I'm being attacked by a neck wasp. Of all the things. Of all the things that could... Gosh, it's still there. That's right. A Charlie horse. Well, you need water or salt or something if you get a Charlie horse. All right. Thank you for sharing my trauma there. All right. I got to come up with something to say at the end, like, let's keep our quest journals full, folks. Or like that. May your day be a heritage. May your day be a heritage quest. These are all good. This is all gold. I should write this down. That'll catch on. People will be saying it around a water cooler tomorrow. Let's face it, nobody's ever watched a stream that stands around a water cooler. Do they even have water coolers anymore? I don't know. Regardless, take care. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Appreciate it.